All right. Thank you guys for joining. Let's wait like a few more seconds for people to trickle in. Yeah, just had some mic issues right now. Hope it's resolved. I was just coming off from the Eastaker merge call, like the first testnet of Ethereum Robston is currently being merged. It's like 25 more minutes until the merge happens on the Robston testnet. Super exciting stuff. Hopefully all goes well. If you guys care for that at all, it's really cool.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gonna be a drama.
This is like the closest to the real thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like the first testnet, then there's like I think 2 or 3 more testnets, and if everything goes well, then it's mainnet merge in like August or September.
So they say.
So they say, yeah. But anyway, I think we can start. Welcome guys to the 14th weekly dev call of Matchbox. I think we're all familiar here. Maybe a few people are here who are not familiar. This is the Matchbox Weekly Dev Call, where basically we update each other on our progress. The grantees come here and talk about their projects, about their progress, any kind of issues they have, and we just kind of hang out together and tackle some kind of issues that may come up, and just a really nice hangout session. Anyway, I think we can basically get right into it. Today we have like we've run one really cool presentation. I think Ametel is not here yet. I will ping him. But in the meantime, maybe we can start with the Game Guild update by Sam. Sam, if you're here and ready.
Hi guys. Yeah, I'm here.
Hey.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Last week I briefly mentioned that I was gonna create a video that shows the demo, or I did create it just before the dev call. That's now uploaded to YouTube, so it's on my channel. I wasn't gonna show it probably on this call because I for one am fed up from hearing my voice, but it's also 11 minutes, so it's quite long. So I was just going to basically briefly describe what I was talking about in that demo, some updates and some interesting points as well that I've thought about. So that demo really was just a first version of the guild system. It showed a basic UI of it working. You're allowed to manage permissions, create guilds, whitelist people to join, and the real sort of bang moment was when you could use someone's item in the guild without actually owning it. And there was an example of unlocking a closed or locked door with a key that you don't actually own. So that was the main crux of it, and it showed really that that's a possibility, and that we could use account abstraction to implement that in sharing of items for making game interactions. So yeah, that's what that was meant to show really, and it's the first version. Talking a bit more about account abstraction, that's really something that at the moment is being explored. Argent mainly have implemented stuff like social recovery, so having guardians and being able to recover private keys. I'm really interested looking at it from a shared account point of view. So yeah, I think that sharing of items idea is really cool and something that's definitely the capability is there. I'm now focusing mainly on what's the best way to implement it, how can we make it easiest for users to use and for games to integrate. For that first version, I think there's a bit fiddly in terms of the games would have to add a parameter to their contracts and change their UI a bit to make it work. So there's lots of different architectures I'm looking at and coding out each one and seeing what the pros and cons are of those. So for me as well, like alongside while I'm developing this and these different architectures, there's a question that I've been thinking about, which is really like this new dynamic that's going to be a possibility. Like, how do games feel about it? from my perspective, creating this whole system, I'm really putting users first. And I want to make it possible so that it's permissionless, no matter who you are. You can create a guild, add your items, add people to use it for whatever permissions you allow them to. But it adds, an interesting dynamic in terms of the idea then of rarity of items is being hidden. So, for example, if you're a game and you release 100 rare items, so rare NFTs, and that out of those 100 items, each one gives you access to perform a certain quest in game or something. You're really putting the value there on the rarity. And if guilds are introduced and you can have, for example, a guild where you can add anyone you want to it to use it, that rarity then becomes quite redundant because there is now a possibility for everyone in that guild to use it. So yeah, it's just interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of possibilities for it, and games would be probably more flexible in what they can do and really utilize this system. But also, there's that other side of it that is sort of disrupting the mechanics of games. And if you are a game that likes that rarity aspect, then that's sort of becoming with this system a bit hidden. So yeah, it's just an interesting point I was thinking about. And so yeah, it's just something to maybe have further discussions on, get more feedback about what you guys think of that. Other than that, in terms of updates, since that video went out, I've spoken to Argent. I think having an Argent plugin could be one of the architectures I'm exploring to make it as easy as possible for users to have guilds. So for them, literally, they would be interacting with the game as they were an individual. And in the background, there's a transaction delegation going on through Argent as a plugin that they don't even notice. They would just have to choose what guild they want to use for that interaction, and then everything else in the background is just bedded in. So yeah, that's really the update for now. Just as a closing thing, I'm thinking, would it be best to focus the guilds on a user first mentality, or should it be a game first mentality and seeing what the games would actually prefer? But yeah, that's generally what I'm thinking about at the moment.
Thank you. You raise a lot of interesting points. I think one thing you should also do is to talk to Terrence, who is building the cartridge gaming console, right? I don't know if you talked to him yet, but I think that could make a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, we are talking, and yeah, he's very interested about, and yeah, it's thinking as well. So I want it to work with Argent. I would want it to work with cartridge. I'm not too sure what cartridge's background, whether they're building on top of something that Argent has, or I'm not too familiar with that. But I want it to try and work with everyone. So it's good to have as many points of view as possible.
For sure. Yeah, really good at what you're talking. And in terms of picking a games first or user first approach, that's a really good question as well. I think going games first might make more sense, just because it might be more important to actually make the system fit with the games instead of focusing on users. I think in terms of usability, it should be somewhat good enough to use, even if you focus on games first. But I think making things easy for devs is probably a good approach, in my opinion. Of course, there will be different opinions, but just wanted to chime in quickly with my opinion. So yeah, also in terms of the item rarity stuff, it's also really interesting, right? Because if you share items with all of your guild members, it kind of takes away the kind of rarity of items potentially. That's a really interesting angle. But that's kind of really the thing with on-chain games, right? Where you have this composability to allow for these kind of tools to share the ownership over stuff like that. So that's really interesting. I think one approach for that would be for games to kind of come up with mechanisms or stuff like that to incorporate this as a gameplay element instead of seeing it as a negative, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what that could look like, but I'm sure there are some ways to incorporate that and make it feel like it belongs, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's good. It's looking at it from what do games want to use it for, and then building from that, rather than just releasing it and blowing everything up, because it could potentially disrupt, as I said before, some of the mechanics that games have. So yeah, it's interesting, and I guess that will just come from conversations with the different developers.
For sure, yeah. I'm actually happy to hear other opinions. Like we have Mist, we have Takezo. Do you guys have any kind of strong opinions on that, like concerning item
So
priority?
it's very interesting indeed, and maybe I know that it's good to think about the games first, but then at the end of the day, with all these new systems and the exchange of items between people through the blockchain, it raises questions about what you should prepare for, in the sense that, like, if we don't make the guild system to share this item between 100 people, somebody else is going to make it. Everything that can be done probably will be done. So it's more of a challenge for game developers to think about it, to anticipate this kind of behavior, maybe by doing other stuff, like if you do a rare item that's super overpowered and it's supposed to be used by a single person, you'll have to put a timer somewhere to limit its use or something. But yeah, I find it more exciting than anything else, the fact that you have to be ready for anything, because if it's doable on the blockchain, it's probably going to come at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I think the other side of looking at it is I want it to be, I guess the word is permissionless. I want anyone to be able to create guilds, etc. So if we start limiting its capabilities from that games don't want to be able to be disrupted, then that limits as well the users that can create one. So yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. And it's just something to
And
research.
somebody else will probably write it anyways at some point, so.
Yeah, want to not limit myself either when developing it.
Yeah, very good points. Like I think it's really inevitable. Like if you can write it, if you can code it, then someone at some point is going to code it. So it's better to take a first principles approach to this and just think about it.
To embrace it.
Yeah. You want to be prepared, right? So it's good to think about that in the first place. Yeah, really sweet updates. Really looking forward to more from the guild system. I think it's a really neat system, and I think it could really take off. Like guild systems or clan systems are obviously a thing in Web2 games or normal games. And I think throwing that on a blockchain and sharing ownership and allowing for like deeper collaboration could be a really big Web3 moment, right? Has a lot of potential for sure. So
The,
yeah,
the last thing I did mention as well was just the multiplayer account aspect as well. So yeah, this is all relevant to the sharing of items, which is definitely I think personally the coolest part. But as well, having a shared account where the game state is updated for multiple people. So my friend can do some stuff in a game, and both of our game states are updated. That's the other side as well. But I think both of them separately, but
yeah. Your mic was cut off at the end there, so I couldn't completely get it. But
right, yeah. In summary, it's just having an account as well, which is a separate thing where multiple people can play together, and both of their game states are updated in that one account, if you like, which is another cool concept.
yeah, that's really sweet. Love it. Thank you for the update. Looking forward to more on that. It looks like Avatar is still not here. Maybe he has like some scheduling issues. I'm not sure. So we can move on to Mist and hear about some updates from Arcane. I know you said it's not like super big updates, obviously, but I'd still be happy to hear it and let the others know.
Yeah, it's pretty small. I mean, I did a lot of work this week, but it's not very interesting. Just on the Caro side, what's good is that I redid the. Hold on, the police is coming, passing by. Yeah, I redid the contract from Arcane, the NFT contract, so it has all the little, stat creation for the characters and stuff. Just yeah, using Ketchak to do a little bit of pseudo randomization here and cutting it up for stats, so we can finally mint them on this side of town. And on the Unity front, I've done basically like a big work to try to integrate the ChainSafe SDK, which is a EVM compatible SDK for Unity, but also making the groundwork. So when the amazing guys, Tomrocks and stuff, they'll be done with the SDK, I'll be ready to trigger some transactions on Starknet, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, it's just difficult to handle from the game engine side. Yeah, the asynchronicity of the transactions on chain. It's another layer of asynchronity that you have to manage. And since things are pretty iffy for like what you get back from the chain is pretty iffy in terms of data. You have to be ready for every use case, and I'm seeing it now in Solidity on Arbitrum, trying to get my transaction results and just query the data in a way that's efficient. Is quite kind of tricky. So yeah, I'm looking forward to chat with the guys who are making the SDK for Starknet and just to try it out, and maybe we can find like out of the box cool functions for Unity devs to not have to think too much about this validation of transaction, just to make sure that your game state is reflects really what's going on chain, because that's the biggest problem right now.
Yeah, and Tomrocks is actually here, who's working on the .NET SDK, and we have a bit of an update on that because we have another guy called Juanu Music, I think. He's collaborating on the .NET SDK now with Tomrocks, like he's helping out a bit, and he's pretty
Nice.
experienced with Unity, and so he's lending a hand to Tomrocks. Tomrocks, if you want to, can you give us a very brief update on what he's been helping you out with and what's the status of that?
Yes, sure. You hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I had this call with Yano. He's an experienced .NET developer, already built Unity SDKs. So he already knows how that library needs to be to make it compatible with Unity. But yeah, he also said that as long as we use latest .NET frameworks and stuff, making it compatible with Unity shouldn't be a big issue. And yeah, Mist, I have to sync with you. I know we already chatted a bit, but
Yeah.
I was busy last week. But yeah, let's try to make this happen this week, and we can see maybe we can already try the library a bit.
Yes, it sounds great, and thank you for working on it, because this is such an important tool that you're building, and it's not an easy task. So yeah, thanks for the work.
Yeah, that's really awesome. It's great to see progress because there were some roadblocks, but I'm happy to see them basically resolved right now, right? This new guy Juanu, he seems to really be very experienced with that, and he's helping out a lot. So that's really awesome. Yeah, like we actually had a presentation scheduled with Alessandro about OGame. They had a new design for the game, and it looks like really slick. And he made some progress on the game systems themselves. So OGame is like one of the most advanced games on the Matchbox. But it seems like he's not showing up today for some reason. So I'm a bit sad about that. We have one more point in the agenda, which is about the status argument by Verde. and he wanted to produce a video basically showing it off because he cannot attend the calls. It's like in a very bad time slot for him. It's like in the middle of the night for him. And so he wanted to produce a video. He didn't quite make it because he used Linux like Ubuntu, and it's like a bitch to produce the videos. Like he wanted to convert a PowerPoint slide and an audio file into a video, and he just couldn't make it. So he sent me the PowerPoint and the audio. I will try to make that a video, and if I can't, I will put it into the corresponding channel on Matchbox, so you guys can check that out. It's super interesting stuff. It's about more efficient state management for games. Definitely worth exploring. But yeah, I don't want to bore you guys and play the audio in this call and go through a PowerPoint. I don't think that's super exciting. Anyway, maybe I can talk a bit about like Matchbox DAO and our plans in general. So we have these weekly dev calls, and we want to do a bit more than that. So what we thought we want to do is to have like a bi-weekly community call, and we will probably have them on Friday. So every 2 weeks on Friday we will have a Matchbox community call. It's going to be open for everybody, like anyone who wants to can attend. It's not just for grantees or interested devs, it's like for the wider community as well. And the reason we want to do this is we are currently like really busy, heads down, with a few different kind of initiatives. And one of these initiatives would be the contribution system for Matchbox. And we have explored a few systems, and it looks like we have something figured out very soon. So we want to get people more involved in the DAO, because we get people coming in all the time asking, hey, how can I contribute? Hey, I would like to do this. Hey, I would like to do that, and so on and so forth. And right now it's a bit clunky to get things going. And so by having this contribution system, we can just link to it, and you will be able to see any kind of open tasks, rewards for that. We will obviously have a kind of reward system where you will be able to earn something. It's not like crypto, like it's not going to be like ETH or USDC, like it's not going to be a straight up payment, but it's going to be either a point system or an NFT system where you can accumulate that, and you basically your completed tasks and so on will be shown and attached to your name or your address or your Discord ID, whichever way we want to do it. And based on that, in the future, we can use that obviously to properly reward contributors. But I can't say more on that right now. But yeah, so we want to have these bi-weekly community calls every two weeks on Friday. Most likely the first one going to be this week. I can't confirm that right now yet, but it looks like it should work out. Anyway, I will post the announcement in the Discord, of course, tag everybody. And a few other initiatives we have. Yeah, I don't actually know if I can talk about that yet. Yoni, do you think I can share a bit about that? If you're still listening, if you're here.
After this build-up, how can you not?
Sure.
Yeah,
So we're going to yeah. So we are planning a hackathon. And the goal of this hackathon is obviously to build some really cool, new, interesting game primitives. It's going to have rewards. We have support from many Starknet ecosystem projects, many people. Our grantees and our mentors will be mentors for the participants. We will have prizes. We have support from some of the VCs that are supporting us. So that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be announced fairly soon. It's going to be online. It's going to be a 1-week hackathon. So we are really looking forward to that and hope for wide participation. So that's one initiative. The other kind of initiatives we have, we are going to publish a blog post sometime soon. It's not going to be very soon, but sometime soon, about, yeah, how should I frame this? Basically, we want to become a kind of decentralized game studio, and for that we are partnering with a few devs and games from Starknet who are going to be able to help out our grantees with like dev work. Like they're going to be like really helpful full stack devs, and we're going to basically try to really help our grantees build out their games, and we are also partnering with Games on Starknet to basically brand them as Matchbox flagship games. And the whole reasoning behind that is basically if we partner with games, then they can support other games in the Matchbox family. So that means if games have like some interesting tech, right? For example, the simplex noise kind of stuff from iCar is super interesting, could be super helpful for other games. And so the reasoning behind that is because of this composability in on-chain games, the more kind of games we onboard to Matchbox and we partner with, the easier it gets to collaborate, right? And so what we imagine for this vision is basically if games partner with Matchbox, then they can help and support each other, right? And instead of games competing with everyone, why don't we all cooperate and make each other games better, right? So the more games join, the more value it adds because each game is going to have interesting components, interesting mechanics, interesting tech, interesting skill sets from their devs. And so the more games we onboard, the more value it adds to the whole Matchbox ecosystem because all of these games can basically collaborate and work together and work on improving each other's games by sharing the tech, sharing the knowledge, sharing support with each other. And so the vision is like to be this decentralized game studio where we partner with more and more games, and that's just going to add so much value to all of these games because we can already see this from these dev codes where grantees come in and update each other with like the .NET SDK is a really great example where Tom Rocks is building it and Mist could really use that, and they are collaborating that Mist is giving them like valuable feedback and stuff like that. So we imagine this, but on a bigger scale, right? And so that's really something we're really looking forward to, and we've been like really heads down working on that over the past few months, striking partnerships, onboarding people, onboarding devs. It's really, really exciting. We're really looking forward to sharing much more info about that once it's the time for that. And one other thing we're working on is like a Matchbox kind of it's like the product side on Matchbox, right? And that's basically like if we onboard all of these games to Matchbox, then they are going to need infrastructure, right? It doesn't make sense that every game has to build like the infrastructure out themselves, right? Like every game needs some kind of minting contract. Every game needs like a staking portal where people can stake NFTs or like an exchange where people can trade in-game assets and in-game resources. Every game needs like a guild system, right? Well, it doesn't need it, but it would be like cool or nice depending on the game, of course. But so we're working on Matchbox on building out these systems to have like this shared infrastructure for all the games. So we have like a unified Matchbox kind of ecosystem with all of the games. So it's easier for games to come in and just use the existing infrastructure, right? Games shouldn't have to build everything out themselves. It doesn't make sense. It's just additional overhead that nobody should be going through. And so we're really trying to be a really value add place for games to come in to Matchbox, develop their games, help all of the devs to share their knowledge, share their tech. Everything's open source. Like there's no kind of licensed stuff. It's just really meant to be this really cool place where people can come in and share their stuff and have like this open collaborative on-chain gaming ecosystem under the Matchbox umbrella. So that's what we're working on. We have a lot of stuff to share, a lot of stuff to work on. We're really heads down working on this. It's still going to take a while to realize all of that, but we're making some really good progress, and we're just super excited about that. So yeah, that's kind of an update on Matchbox in general. I will reiterate that on the community call, maybe in a bit more detail, maybe with a presentation. We'll see about that. But yeah, that's really like we're just really excited about this because it just has so much potential, right? So that's what we're working on. It's sad that Alessandro didn't make it today for the O-Game presentation. It's really taking shape, the game. It's really cool to see. But we'll definitely have him for next week then. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Like we know in Matchbox, we didn't have too much to share. Like we've had these weekly dev calls, but in the future this is definitely going to change. Like we will have very much different things to engage the community and to start building that player base. We have like very interesting initiatives like quest systems and things like that. But right now it's more of a tease than something to properly share. But yeah, like I said, we're really heads down working on this. It's taking shape. The things are starting to come together, and we can kind of see where all of this might go in the future. So really exciting stuff. I hope you're as excited as I am, as we are, and we'd be super happy to have you on the community call to stay updated on all of that stuff and add your input. And also, we want to kind of try to operate more as a DAO to kind of decentralize the decision making a bit. That's also going to be something we will tackle with the contribution system. But yeah, more info about that. Yeah, soon TM. That's that's kind of an outlook for Matchbox. So we hope you stick around. It's going to be super exciting on Starknet in general. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else. Like I said, I will share the PowerPoint plus audio file in the channel or try to make it a video. I'll try to get it out there. Thank you guys for attending. I hope it wasn't too disappointing today that Alessandro couldn't make it, but I would have loved to see it because like I can't stress this enough, but it looks really cool. It looks really slick. So yeah, if anyone has questions, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, I think we can wrap up the call. I've been rambling a bit, so apologies for that. Okay, if there are no questions, then I will wrap up this call. Thank you guys for presenting, for updating us, for discussing. I'll hope to see you guys on the community call, and if it's not this week, it's definitely going to be next week. And also definitely stick around for the next weekly call for the presentation of OGame. It's super cool. But yeah, let me wrap up this call. Thank you guys for coming, and see you guys hopefully on the community call. Have a great day.